Hi, this is my blog on how to teach a baby to swim at a young age. Now, many parents are really impressed with how well Isla's been doing at her swimming. She's only 16 months and she's so close. She can jump in and out of the pool, she can swim from one end to the other with her armbands, and she can so nearly swim without them. We're really pleased with her progress. But contrary to many parents' beliefs, it actually hasn't come naturally. It's because of what we've taught her. Much of that is actually down to my husband, not me. So I'm going to get him to talk through his top tips for getting a baby to swim at a young age.
Okay, tip number one for helping your baby to swim is exposure to water as early as you can. A lot of people wait until you go to a leisure centre and just go in the baby pool. But actually I think it's right to try and get them into water earlier, whenever you can. If you're on holiday, go to the beach, lakes, rivers, as long as they're safe to swim in. And you can buy thermal swimsuits that keep them warm if the water's a bit cold. Many times we were told, oh, that water's too cold for the baby, she won't like it. But actually, with the right swimsuit, it's absolutely fine. So with exposure to water, get them in. It's good to get them to kick their feet. Isla wants to stand up all the time. Get them to kick their feet. Kick. Splash. Splash the water with your hands. Splash. And then they get used to the idea of feeling the water hit their face. You can also run the water over the top of their head and get them as much into it as you can. Tip number two is confidence. The more confident you are in the water, the better they will be too. Too many people are not very confident at putting their head under the water or swimming, and that tends to filter into the kids too. They feed on that negativity, they feed on that worry. So be positive, and with that comes under dunking her head underwater. If you've done the exposure part of getting used to water, running water over the top of her head with a watering can is a good idea. The next part is to dunk her underwater. So what I do with this is, at first I make sure I keep hold of her, so she's always got the confidence of me. Afterwards I will reassure her too afterwards and be a big positive smile with it. But lastly, I won't bring her up to the surface. I will let her kick her feet, and that's really important for me. There's no point putting her down and bringing her back up. You put her down and let her kick her feet and help guide her back up to the surface. So we take her into the water. Come on then. And we do a big count, and on that count they get used to the idea. So here we go, Isla. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Yay! Well done, you. What's that? And then a big reassuring hug at the end to show her everything's fine, and that brings in the confidence of her putting her head underwater. Okay, tip number 3 is buoyancy. One of the hardest things for babies to feel is buoyance in the water, to feel how the water affects them. Because too often they're held really tightly by parents, and the parents are holding the water, not them feeling the buoyancy. You want to let them wriggle and move around and get the feeling for how the water is. So if I bring Isla into the water, I'll hold her quite loosely underneath her belly here. That gives her freedom in the hips and also gives her ability for her to move her arms. So here we go. And down. And you'll see she's starting to kick her legs already as well. Now, the buoyancy idea comes from the fact that too many people hold them really tight, like this, never letting go. Actually, hold them out a bit so they've got their own feeling and let them wriggle left and right. And if her head ducks under slightly, let her get used to the idea of having to kick to rescue herself. If she swallows a bit of water, it's fine. Let her get used to the idea that this is not something to drink. Too many babies drink the water in the swimming pool because they think that's what they do. So I tend to hold her quite loosely. I let her wriggle around. I let her sort herself out. As you can see, she's kicking her legs strong. And she comes back to the side. Okay, tip number 4 is about getting them to use their legs, starting to kick hard in the water, because that's the only way they're going to start to move and get the idea of swimming. You can use floats for this, along with the buoyancy part, but we like to do it where we just taught her how to basically use her legs, and we did that either by starting to move them themselves, or starting to hold in position that enables her to do that. Now, if they're not walking, and we were swimming Isla from before she could walk, basically from the age of before she got pregnant, they might do a double leg kick. And the idea is you wanted to get to that split kick that most freestylers do. That will only come when they start to walk properly. So even if they're doing a double kick, that's absolutely fine. But the idea with it is you need to be able to hold her in the right position, underneath the arms again, let her find her own buoyancy, and then encouragement, positivity. The worst thing I see parents do is when they put them in the water, they start to move the baby. Well, what are you teaching your baby then? Nothing. All you're teaching your baby is that you are going to move them, and that's how they get around. Ideally, you want to incentivize them. Put a ball in front of them, let them aim for the ball, and then they will start to work towards it. So at the minute, Isla really likes to kick towards the stairs. So if I took Isla over here and I aimed her towards the stairs, go, go, go. Go, 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 kick your legs, 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 kick your legs. Yay! She starts to propel herself to where she wants to go. All of these things are really, really important because ultimately, if she falls into the water, she needs to have some sort of rescue idea, some sort of ability to kick her legs, come up and float, and give herself time to scream out. So for us, it was really important that she felt confident in water, that without much handling and finding her own buoyancy, she can kick and scramble her legs and get to the side of the pool. Okay, tip number 5 is independence. The sooner they feel they can be in the water by themselves without you, the better. And as you can see, Isla's about ready to go by herself. And that's where you can use flotation devices like armbands. Now they do restrict the ability for them to swim with their arms, and that's why we do a combination of both with flotation devices and without. But you see she's really comfortable. Too often babies are held too tightly in water. They're rescued and make sure they're nowhere near the water or head worried about ducking under. And as soon as you start to let them go, they get scared and worried. Many times in leisure centres when we are swimming with her, there'll be lots of sort of 4 or 5-year-olds with their parents trying to swim, and they're really worried about putting their head underwater, being alone in the water. They want to be constantly held, and they ask why. Look at that baby, why can she do that? It's because of all these things. We're trying to let her be independent. So the other part about the independence, again, is the idea of the rescue nature, that if they fall into the water, how can they give you time to get to them, or how can they help themselves? We already talked about the idea of buoyancy, kicking of legs, and as you can see, Isla's quite comfortable with entering and exiting the pool using the steps. But there's another way too, and that's either by holding onto the side of the swimming pool, which these sides are a little bit high, but it's good to get them to grip onto it, or also potentially using the steps as a matter of climbing out. Babies, when they crawl, are quite happy to crawl up and down steps, so coming out of the steps of a pool isn't such a hard issue for them. So hopefully we're going to get Isla to swim down to the steps, and then she can make her way out. And she recognises these are the ways of coming in and out of the pool. So, come on then, little one. Let's go. Kick, kick, kick. Kick those legs. Come on. Kick, kick, kick. Kick those legs. So sometimes I might push up, the hips a little bit higher, so she kicks her legs more in the water. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Well done. Well done. And she will then grab the side, and then this is just like steps that she'll crawl up at home, except because they're a bit more vertical, I put my knees underneath together. So if she needs to, she can step on my knee. Being behind it, if she falls backwards, I can catch her. Keep going, up you go. That's it, keep going. And up again. And up again. And stand up. Yay! And so for her it becomes a bit of a game. She's been able to enter the pool safely. She's been able to swim by herself to the other end of the pool and being able to get out of another place. And all of this ties into the idea of her being really comfortable swimming, but also that safety aspect, that if she needed to get out of the pool by herself, she would have some sort of chance that would help us.